G'day, I'm Roy Sloan from the Fiordland Wapiti Foundation. I hope everybody is at home keeping safe with this horrible coronavirus thing that's running around the country at the moment. Here I'm sitting in Southland and nobody's allowed to hunt the wapiti at the moment. We've just had 12 of the most glorious days, which won't go well for wapiti hunters. Anyway, I just thought we'd take the opportunity to discuss a few things around the herd and what's going on at the moment. So I guess the first one we need to touch on is the ballot and the cancellation of the ballot. You know, the foundation is taking a bit of time over what we should do here. We need to think about a few things that affect the herd itself, and also we need to think about the future of the herd and the management of the area and the agreement we have with the Department of Conservation. So all these things here are really is what the committee is stewing over at the moment. So, you know, we've just gone through a period where the venison market has collapsed. Late last year, we weren't able to sell any deer, so all the recovery we do in the area is has to be paid for. So we're at a stage now where we've just shot and left 300 deer. We're going to have to continue to do that for the rest of the season. And the guts of it all is the management all hinges on us removing 1,000 deer per year. So not only the management area, this is beneficial to the herd. We need to ensure we reduce the numbers, keep the numbers down to a level where the fauna and flora in Fiordland regenerates, and we need to ensure that we have a healthy herd and remove all the red deer as possible. It costs us around $100 to $130 a year per head to shoot a wapiti or a red deer, or whatever we choose to remove from the herd. So, you know, if you're looking at around 1,000 deer a year, it doesn't take a rock science to start working out. You know, we're talking about 100k to 130,000 a year to manage the area. So, you know, historically we've been able to sell that venison, but now we're at a point where we're going to pay for every animal that's shot. My advice to the committee is to take a little bit of time over this decision around the ballot. There's a lot hinges on that, and you know, first and foremost, as I said, the herd is the most important thing. The management is another thing that's equally important, and then of course we have our obligations to the hunters who hunt the area. We aren't too sure what the outcome is yet, but there's a few more important things happening in the country at the moment, in our lives and your lives. So we asked that you just give us some patience, and as soon as we make a decision, we will get back to you. Let's touch a little bit on the state of the herd from my perspective. You know, I've been hunting there for 35 years. Wouldn't have a clue how many times I've been in there. I haven't carried a rifle since we started this management program back in 2004, but I still hunt with a camera and still spend quite a considerable amount of time walking around them hills. You know, I think when I started off hunting in there, it was very hard to find a wapiti animal. It was very hard to find an animal. If I look back in 2004, when we started, our objective was to remove as many red deer as possible. We kind of didn't think we'd see a decent wapiti running around there for quite a few years. In fact, we're talking decades for the start. We were invested in making sure this program was going to last a long time. We removed red deer for about 3 years, then all of a sudden we started seeing some good wapiti type animals run around out in the tops and stuff. We had no idea where these things come from because we didn't see them in the past. We kind of think that maybe the reason we weren't seeing them is because there was so much uncontrolled deer recovery in the area. They were deep in the park or deep in the bush, and us doing what we've done and how we managed the areas drew them out to the tops again. Anyway, time went on, and you know, back in the early 2000s, it was very rare to see a wapiti with 40 inches on its head. It was very rare to see a wapiti that was scoring over 300. So very quickly, something happened that astounded us all. So within the first 5 years, we not only had a 50-inch wapiti bull, but we had quite a number of bulls that went over 40 to the mid-40s. And scored around that 350 duck to score mark. And to the point now when we're doing deer recovery in there, and not only deer recovery, walking in there on the ground, we're seeing some really, really nice deer. 40 inches plus is now the norm. When we started, as I say, it wasn't. So we need to look after this herd, and I guess, if you look at genetics, and you look at food, and you look at age, there's the three things that it takes to grow a trophy. The Wapiti Foundation has the most influence over the genetics and the food side of it. During our recovery, we're managing the herd for the best genetics we can find and see. We let that live. We manage the herd numbers so the Fiordland itself stays healthy and bulls have plenty to eat. But what happens every year around the end of March, the place is opened up to hunters, and it's the hunters who have the biggest influence over age. And when guys are out there on the hill making decisions, this let's hope they're the right ones, and it's all based around age of deer. I saw something on TV the other day that made me smile. Guys walked away from this nice bull, and his comment was, the herd needed that bull more than I did. Man, that's the sacrifice we need for this herd, is people to do the right thing. Let's talk a little bit about the future of this herd. What's important to the foundation and what are they going to do. So I guess for us, one of our problems is this herd is so unique that there's nothing like it in the world. We've got 100 years of crossbreeding, we've got 100 years of so many different things going on with this herd that, it's the only herd like it in the world. We're also, where they live, it's the only area like it in the world. So I guess from our perspective, we've probably got the right type of animal for the area. So it's probably about managing the type of animal that are in there. So, let's forget about elk. Let's talk about Fiordland Wapiti. So I think the foundation will always try and push the Wapiti towards outlooking deer, but I think we have to sit back and admit that these are Fiordland Wapiti. They're unique to us in New Zealand. So the foundation need to ensure that they become the expert in the field of managing Fiordland Wapiti. So we work very closely with animal biologists who keep on challenging us and challenging what we are doing and challenging our management systems, and we'll continue to do that. And I think it's very important that we continue to spend money in that area. We don't want to just fly by the seat of our pants, and it's kind of what's happened in the past. So we want to make sure what we're doing is kind of peer-reviewed, and that's important to the future of the herd. We have to ensure we have the ability to manage the deer numbers in there. We have to look after Fiordland. This herd has to be a nice wee economical Japanese car, not a great big V8, as Cam Speedy keeps saying, which is so true. So that's kind of the take-home message. And I guess I could talk about Wapiti for hours. But one thing I always get asked is, why is the Fiordland Wapiti Foundation so successful? So I guess one, we make some really hard decisions. And, when it comes to shooting and managing deer, there's some tough decisions to be made. It's not easy, but we've got ourselves in a situation where we know what it takes to make these decisions. The other thing is that we pride ourselves on is that, and I think this is the biggest take-home message, is when you're working on conservation land or any land, you make sure you are the decision makers. Don't allow anybody to make decisions for you. You've got to know your game and know the rules you play by. So I can't remember a time since 2004 where we've been told by the government or the department that, guys, this is what you got to do. If you don't do this, you're gone. We have made them decisions. We have been the decision maker. So anyway, I better cut it short there because I'm running out of time. Here I am sitting in Southland, 12 or 14 days in a row of fine weather. no Wapiti to hunt. So good luck with next year's ballot or whatever we're going to have. So thank you.